And we're live. Good Tuesday evening to you. And we have our first guest, Bob Walker. He's drinking again.
Drinking some agua. I still have
Right on.
my Canadian Airlines water.
Oh, wow. That's not real water, you know.
Well, that's
So
me. Hold on.
we're using a new streaming software package tonight, and so there's a big learning curve for an old guy like me. And so I will implore your patience if things get a little weird. Um, it shouldn't go too far off the rails.
So I don't know. I'm seeing where it says paired. So I guess that's stuff coming through my
I'm
channel too. So
I'm
looks
monitoring
good.
both your channel and mine, and it's coming through on both.
You should put it where it's on the screen so everybody can from both channels can see each other's chat and they can answer each other that way.
Uh, how did I do that? Oh,
There
here we
was a
go.
thing that said hide chat.
Yeah,
Nuke. There we go. Look at that. Now
new
everybody can see
comments.
everybody, no matter where you're watching.
Ah, look at that. Hey, that's a good feature, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So you can be seen from both sides.
So how's the
That's
foot?
awesome.
It's
How's the
better.
foot, Bob?
Yeah, well, they burned a hole in my toenail to let blood out from behind it, and that made a
Yikes.
lot of difference as far as the pain. So, doing good though.
The new chats on the overlay show up at the top, and on the application they show on the bottom. Now, Bob, you're not seeing the chat on the side. You can only see the
No, I
overlay.
see it on the side too. Yeah, I
Oh, you
just
see it
can't.
on the
I
side
can't
now?
type it in there though. I can't type in that chat,
I see. I see.
but it looks good.
Well, that's good to see the chat on the screen. That's
But who
pretty
knows
cool.
what happens when you got 10 people in here?
Well, I
It
think
might
it,
be this
yeah,
big.
I think it goes over top of the screen. This is an overlay, so I think it's transparent. We'll see what we'll
So
do. The the link is a little longer now. I'm going to try to put it in here. I think this is it. So I'll post that.
can you pin it, or do you still have to pin it from YouTube?
I have to pin it from YouTube.
I don't think I have.
Okay.
No, not like before. All right.
Now, you, Bob, I think you can
So
enter
here's
the
a.
link on your channel. I think you can enter the link on your YouTube channel and pin it there.
Oh, you know
How
what?
many cats are allowed? Well, you
I
know the
can
story
do
of
it.
Mr. Boots. He's old enough that he gets anything he wants.
There you go. I
Wow.
did pin it over on mine,
That
or I put it over
overlay
there right
chat
now.
animation is a little distracting, but oh well.
We might actually not miss comments. All right. So the main here's the question: why did we go to new software?
Yeah, why did we go to new software? Well, uh, I was actually, because I wasn't doing very many streams, and you can do streams on StreamYard with the free account. So I was considering just downgrading to a free account. How that would affect things really would be the number of guests. How many guests are allowed on the free account, Bob, on StreamYard?
6, I think.
6. And there's 10 allowed on the package that I was using the lowest cost package. But they almost doubled their price, their monthly fee on that, and I was considering downgrading anyway. So when they doubled the price, I thought, no, that's not going to happen. So I did a little research and found this Restream. Seems to be a popular service, and uh, and it comes in at a very good price point. Now,
And because you switched, they gave you
yeah,
20% off.
they said if your StreamYard if you're coming from StreamYard to Restream, we'll give you 20% off lifetime discount. There's Big Mike. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Brad. Hey, Bob.
How's it going?
Going good.
Good.
So, did you have any challenges with the link getting connected tonight on this new platform?
No, real
No,
simple.
pretty straightforward, eh? Okay, good.
Yeah. So I missed
Good.
how many people can you have in this?
I think I can have 10 as well in this one. It's the entry package. It's I think it comes in at $15 or something, which some things are you look at kind of a negative, but it was really a positive because it forced me to look around. And this one's costing me
Half.
uh, a little
Half
more than
minus
half,
20%.
a little more than half of what the StreamYard was costing me before, and so it's a quarter of what StreamYard's charging now. So they kind of cooked their goose as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, we got a little smaller because we got the chat box on the side, so Link
Yeah,
can see what everybody's saying. You don't have to switch back and forth.
yeah, I think that's a good feature.
9 people and 1 cat, John said.
Yeah.
West Cliff Money.
And the nice thing is that chat will exist in the recording. So when you replay, you can see the chat going on. So don't put anything in the chat you don't want to live forever.
Well, I'm filterless, so it's I've got
Yeah,
plenty of stuff I probably don't want
this is
online
my channel,
forever.
Bob. So be careful. 9 people and 1 cat. Yeah, one big fluffy old kitty cat that loves sleeping on me.
The unlimited cat package would be worth it, Brian says.
Well, as long as the cats are escorted by an adult, then I guess we can have 10 as well.
Well, one thing, Danae, I know we were talking about something, but I got something. We were talking about the drinks, the drink powder. So it's not new. It's new to me. But if you haven't gotten one of these, the Circle, they're probably one of the best inventions of. Oh,
Show that again.
he's playing around.
Yeah.
Circle. So
Okay,
this
so when I
piece,
go full screen, the chat is on top. Okay.
this piece right here is actually a flavor cartridge. So as you drink the water out of the bottle, you're getting flavored drinks. So it's a pretty good invention. So it's just a regular water bottle, just water in there. You can see it. So I'm trying to force myself to drink more water, and this is the only way that I can do it. Yeah, they are. You just have to look at it on the screen. So like
Yeah, even a StreamYard, you couldn't see the chats on the other channel. So what we didn't clarify is this stream. This is technically it's my stream. I created the stream, and then Bob linked his channel. So those people who are viewing one channel won't see the chats in that YouTube feed on the side. So that's why we've put it on the screen, because you can see all of the chats on the screen. It's different order though. The new chats are at the top on the screen.
And they do pop in, so it is a little bit you have to keep pace, right?
It's a little distracting, but I guess I'll get used to it.
Well, so I guess as far as beekeeping is concerned, we'll go there. Is
Oh yeah, we're supposed to talk bees.
I'm pretty much experiencing devastation at this point.
Oh, that's terrible.
Last week I went out and put on some Swiffer sheets for hive beetles, and I think it was too little, too late, because there was plenty of beetles and no bees in some of those hives. So, I'm down in my numbers. So,
Okay,
I don't.
I got it.
bear with us on the new software here. Okay, so getting a
Thanks,
little
Mom.
colony collapses out there from hive beetles, and back to the same old number I get every year. Now the difference is I'm going into winter what I came out of winter with last year, so it could be a very devastating year for me. So we're gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do as far as that, and keep it moving. Right? Gotta. Brad told me giving up is not an option, so I have to power through it.
I told him I got to come down there and kick his butt if he gives up. Yeah, Tom. Sorry, welcome, and sorry
Yeah,
I was slow. I missed the notification in the flurry of learning new things here. So I appreciate you sending me that message saying, "Hey, I'm here."
yeah, no
I
problem,
appreciate
Brad.
that.
And I'm
So
getting used to it too.
you're welcome. Yeah, well, hopefully, and I know that the features aren't all exactly the same as StreamYard, but I
They're
think
pretty
it's
close.
so far it actually is really close. So far, I think it's a really viable alternative. Um, it's prettier, I'll tell you. My side of things, what I'm looking at here, it's certainly a lot nicer to look at.
The only thing that is different for me is that I can't type in the chat box through Restream. I have to do it through YouTube, and then just get in the
Yeah,
mix.
that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah,
But other than that,
Yeah,
I like it. I like
at
it a
least
lot.
there's the workaround. Just go into the YouTube side, but then you have to have the YouTube side open, which not everybody would. And if you're on a phone, a mobile device, that might be a little challenging.
I
The
tried to make the StreamYard thing full size, but there's a picture of me on the side that covers half the screen when I do that. I have the
On
same picture in there off to the left hand side. I don't know how to get rid of it.
I don't know, my friend. We're not seeing that here, so
No, it's on my screen. It says you're in the show.
we're good that way.
So, Brad, I just finished my second ton of sugar.
Your second ton of
Yeah,
sugar. Wow.
that
boy,
drought just killed it. Everything.
Wow. I just poured, I just collected the last of my feed pails and poured them back in the tank today.
hey, Mike,
The,
I'm the same.
what's that, Tom?
Go ahead, Brad.
had to grab some more water.
I was going to say that my 6-frame nukes seem to not quite finish their pails more consistently than the big colonies. I don't know if I misjudged how much I should put in them.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Mike. We've had that big drought, and then we've got 5 inches of rain from the lead, which was great. But now we haven't had rain since. And I've been feeding, buying, feeding.
I did the first thing
Staying
I've ever
warm.
done with feed today. I put
It got up to
straight
80
syrup on.
degrees today.
I put straight syrup on for the first time ever, without any
Nice.
water added to it. Just filled up the buckets and flipped it over,
I wish I
and
could buy that.
and see how it works out.
Yeah, I used all mine up already, and now just using sugar.
So how much, I guess year to year it would vary for you, but Tom, first, how much feed will you go through per colony, if you can kind of give me an idea in your climate?
Typically, 4 to 6 gallons, depending on how big they are on average.
So that'll do that's the whole season, 12 months.
Yeah, I only yeah Yeah, I don't feed a whole lot in the spring, maybe 1 gallon at the very beginning,
Yeah.
and maybe a pollen patty, but I haven't done that the last couple of years, just feeding sugar water.
You don't put
But
out
they
any
eat
dry
the
pollen either?
I put dry pollen out. I got that out right now, and they're not touching it.
I saw
Um,
Brian for Flower Street had some dry pollen out. Looked like they were getting after it over there.
but but this year I've already putting on at least 8 gallons on every hive, and I think I need to put another couple more gallons on them.
Wow. Wow. So what about you, Mike? So the
I
same question, in a 12-month period, how much do you feed a
I
colony?
don't feed in the spring. I don't put pollen on. I don't use pollen. Um, Last year I'd say I went through about 600 pounds of sugar for my fall feeding. Everything was up. Summer felt like rocks. We had, but this year we had a month of drought followed by torrential rains, and then everything was starving. And then the fall flow came, and some of them plugged out. Yeah, every year's different. I
Yeah,
lost. I had a year like you, probably 4 years ago, because I didn't know enough about the droughts. This year I started feeding, and they're all doing good.
yeah,
I
we
just
got
find it
zero
interesting
fall
to get
flow.
get that comparison from different people, because you have a feeding period that I don't have. You have that potential dearth kind of in the middle of the season, whereas I have spring, which I don't feed much in the spring. I usually don't have to, but I'll feed a gallon, you know, maybe a gallon and a half tops. In the fall, I'm feeding them 5 gallons, and then that'll keep them for the winter. So I'll be, about what you feed, Tom, 6 gallons for the year, maybe a little more, but it's all preseason and postseason feeding.
Yeah, same thing, mostly post.
I
Do
know when
you
when Ian
Yeah, and
sits
this
on canola, he sometimes has to start feeding in August. That gets expensive.
it
do you
stopped raining in August 1st, like first week of August, and we've
Right.
gotten one rain, and that was at 5 inches.
do you notice when you guys feed? I know you do, Brad, 2 to 1. When you feed 2 to 1, do they actually store that, or is it just food for right now? Did you
I
understand? I
say
mean, my
yeah.
question.
Well, in my case, I should probably get to feeding a thinner syrup. I watch Bob Binney's videos like probably the rest of you, and he's constantly talking about a stimulative effect in the spring of thin syrup, and I've never done that, and maybe I should. I'm always just afraid the stuff's going to go bad. Um, but maybe I need to do that. But to me, it's always thick syrup. It's always you know nominally 2 to 1 sort of thing. And yeah, I mean they'll use what they want to use if they don't have incoming, but they certainly store that stuff fast because it's so thick.
Well, I'm hoping that'll. I put about 2 gallons on every one of my colonies today, so hopefully, hopefully it helps get them a little heavier. I mean, I wasn't in a big rush because it's not. I mean, we're getting some cold nights, but it's still like today was mid to upper 70s, so it was not cold. They're still out foraging. Mainly trash cans, I find out around here. Um, so the other day, when was it? It was probably Sunday. I sent Brad a little video clip, and I was like, "Oh, look, I'm at the gas station up the street, and there's honeybees in the trash can.
I wonder where those honeybees
I
came from.
wonder where they came from, right?" And then I got a call when you and I were talking earlier. Somebody from a ball field across town says they had to reschedule baseball games because there's so many honeybees attacking the trash cans at the ball fields, and women show up with their perfume on and everything else, and they stay swarmed that they can't have ball games, right?
Swarmed.
What can I do about it? Nothing I can do about it. Keep your trash empty.
Yeah.
You know? Rinse out the cups and then throw them in the trash can or something.
Right. Keep a lid on it.
It was 5°C here today, high temperature. Yesterday was a beautiful warm day, and summer ended. Fall ended. Now we're almost winter. I was out taking those pails off, and I got pretty cold doing it because it was rainy. It rained quite a bit this morning, so it was damp and not real nice.
I had 26°C today.
26°C? What's that in English?
80 degrees.
80 degrees?
26? Is 26 80?
I think so, isn't it?
Might be. There's Todd.
Hey, I wanted to try the mobile out.
Yeah, look at that.
It's kind of a pain to first sign in, but
yeah,
it's easy.
16.
But you know what? This is probably the clearest I've seen you on a video in quite a while, especially mobile. I mean, honestly, because you usually get grainy on StreamYard when you're driving.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of bad spots. We'll have to test this out again when I'm just leaving downtown because I don't know. It seems to always drop off there.
This platform defaults to mirroring the video, so you have to go into one of the settings and hit that. It looks like you're driving a right drive car.
Oh, well, I am over in England. I didn't tell you guys that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh well. I don't know how long the signal is going to last because I'm out here in the country. Let me see. I don't know if you can see the orange trees, but that's where I'm at.
Just a couple oranges.
Yeah, that's like a mile long of oranges. It's probably about 200 acres. Oh well. And there's almonds on the other side. That's what's keeping me in the shade.
Yes, Brad can see the chat on the screen from mine. The honeybee comes.
Yeah, that's why we put the chat on the side there, because it shows the chat from both channels. Whereas if you're just watching one of the channels, you might not see all of the chat messages.
Yeah.
Look at that landscape, Todd.
Well, but I can't see myself because the phone didn't readjust.
Well, believe me, you're not missing anything.
Hey,
I was going to say,
you're not telling me something I don't already know.
I was almost scared.
Gee, why did I come in here? I forgot.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're glutton for punishment.
I guess so. Punching Bag Todd. That's what my name will be next time. Punching Bag Todd.
Punching Bag Todd.
Via Honeybees wants you to send them some orange blossom honey.
It's Sawmill Charlie. Good evening.
I can't see Charlie either. Let me scroll up the screen here.
Well, you're definitely not missing much there.
Well, I can't even scroll up the screen.
He doesn't even have his popcorn yet.
No popcorn.
What is this, Canadian StreamYard?
StreamYard is actually, Restream has been around longer than StreamYard, actually.
Yeah. There's a lot about it that I actually really like. It's a very nice application. Uh-oh.
Oh, there went Todd.
They dropped him.
Todd's gone.
Well, he didn't lose quality. He just lost signal altogether.
Hey, Hanley.
Yeah, so Brad was looking around at StreamYard and was thinking about downgrading his account and realized they went up on price to like double almost. So
yeah, it was bad timing for them, really. Because I was thinking, gee, I've been paying for this thing for, I don't know, a year or more. Every month I pay, and I'm thinking I'm really not using it that much. Maybe I should. I really bought it so that I could have. There was one or two big streams that we wanted to have with more than, I don't know what it is, 6 people or something. You can have up to 10. So I bought the introductory paid account that you could have 10 guests. But I really wasn't doing that many streams, and certainly nothing that necessitated 10. So I was considering just downgrading to free, and then they doubled the price on me. So I thought, okay, we'll just go ahead with this. And I looked for this other streaming software, and this one is half of what StreamYard was. So now it's a quarter of what StreamYard is, and gives me
So
pretty well everything I had.
I seen something in there where they had StreamYard with a new different versions or something like that. So are they? What are they charging now? I haven't seen any price. I mean, price increase for me yet.
I get confused because it always gets converted. It's like 50 some bucks now
A what? A
a
year? A
month.
month?
Yeah, yeah,
50 Canadian.
yeah. It was
So it's
by the
still
time I
like 35
converted it.
bucks, isn't it?
Time I converted it, no, that's US. So by the time I converted it was like $68. I think I paid it. So that was too much.
I mean, it was 25 by the month, and then it got to the point where
Yeah, it was 25.
I've been paying by the year, which is $20 a month.
Yeah. So it was 25 I was paying, which was about
Yeah.
35 Canadian is what I was paying. And then they went to 55 or something. It was like crazy increase,
Carbon tax increase.
I guess.
So, Brad, how much faster was it having the second vaporizer?
It's remarkably faster if you're vaporizing more than 2 grams. If I was always vaporizing 2 grams, then I would not invest in a second one because there wouldn't be very much downtime. It's so fast that it's only 30 seconds to vaporize 2 grams. So you wouldn't gain much by having a second. But when you're doing 3 or 4, then you can almost double, cut your time in half. There's not much waiting time, but you also burn through batteries twice as fast. So,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I can burn through my batteries and then put a couple on to charge and then go for lunch or something, come back and finish off. I have to do another round again tomorrow. Forecast says it's going to be a nice day. So, not especially warm, 12 degrees, but sunny. So that's actually quite nice. The bees will be flying though.
I did 3 yards the other night. I love doing it at night. Just easy, no bees.
Yeah. Well, that's typically what I have even in daytime because I'm running, 5C kind of thing. And
Yeah.
just me in the
Right.
bee yard. The place it's weird. It's like a cemetery, all these grave markers, but no people.
Doug said the only thing he doesn't like is with the overlays, you can't scroll back and see this conversations. You can still do that in your
You have to go to YouTube for that.
YouTube. Yeah.
No, actually, all you have to do is if you have a mouse with a roller on it, I've got my cursor over.
Well, he's talking about the overlay that's on the screen where
Yeah.
the chat's showing up on the screen.
Yeah, you have to go to the
And it's the chat from my channel and Brad's channel. They're getting combined. Heck, you can even share comments.
Look at that.
It's identical. And one thing is you can stream, and you can do it with StreamYard too, but with Restream, there's like 20 different streaming services that you can stream this to.
Yeah,
So,
I can stream to Facebook and Instagram and about 24 other services I've never heard of.
VK is the Russian is the Russian Facebook.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Dobro.
That's what I'm on there. Let's see.
Sorry, trying to keep up with the comments. There's too many new things happening on this new platform.
I just popped out the Facebook comments and posted it into this new stream.
Now
Restream.
here's when
Right.
it really get crazy. If I
Restream.
linked my Facebook and streamed it on Facebook too, then you'd get Facebook viewers chatting, and they would get scrolled through the screen too. That would be
Oh,
clicking
man.
by.
It'd be pretty fast. It might not get to read them.
You have to read quick. And if you think about it, I mean, when we talk about like super chats and stuff like that, super chats for the year, they help pay that monthly fee, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's not a free service, so it costs to do this type of thing. So it's not always it's not that we're like money hungry. It's just like we'd like to
So that's one of the things that I'm disappointed in. I would have to go to a next package up to get a second seat, they call it, for a moderator, Brian. So it still I think is less. It's less than StreamYard is now. So I mean I could go to that because it wouldn't cost me any more than StreamYard was costing me.
speaking of Bob Benny videos, DC, Brad and I were having a conversation because I was kind of downtrodden about the way my typical bee downturn has been, and so I said I thought I was smart enough to be able to figure this out with all the information out there, and Brad said, well, Bob Benny has issues every year, and he's been doing this forever. He's like Obi-Wan, or Master Yoda. He still has issues every year. So, an average guy like me, maybe I have to be even more prepared, right? Do even more studying and more.
We're all figuring it out.
stuff.
I mean, not to point fingers or pick on anybody, but everybody follows Ian's saga. He struggles too. He's just some days he's banging his head against the wall, right? And the whole
Yeah.
idea is just don't give up.
All right, now you got the one chat off to the right, and you got the one on the screen here. Which one is which?
They're both the same, Charlie. They're different order though. The one on the
Yeah,
right,
that's what
the
I'm.
new
That's what,
chats are on the bottom, and the one on the screen are on the top. The one on the screen goes into the stream, so it shows on the screen in the recording, right?
So,
all right.
like in this instance,
I'm just going to share this. This is Restream's packages, 01639. So I'm on the $16 package with my 20% discount.
well, I mean, with this service though, it's one of the big gripes when we would stream to multiple channels before was you couldn't see everybody's comments, so you'd have to flip back and forth from channel to channel to try to keep up with chats.
Right.
When you have it on the screen, you can be in one chat and see everybody's comments.
Yeah,
and
you're
you
quite
can
often
comment.
only hearing one side of a conversation on the other, when you can't see both chats.
So I like it. I mean, it's a little bit different, people have to get used to it, but it looks good. I like it. I like it a lot. How can you
Bob,
donate to the chat now? I don't see the thing anymore. Oh, do you have it maximized on your screen? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah,
Okay.
you have to just go back to the regular YouTube and do it that way. Or Brad's got a neat thing if you want to buy him a cup of coffee or PayPal.
What happened? I'm going to hide that.
When someone said if I was worried about,
I got a
Hey,
little
Bob.
QR code in the corner.
you can just scan the screen and donate straight away.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like don't let the on-screen chat throw you. You can still do all of the things you normally do in the YouTube chat uh, in your browser, right? So there's a difference between the stream video screen and then the YouTube uh, chat bar on the side. So I want
There's
to
no
I want to make
where's
sure it's convenient for them to make sure they can contribute and send me super chats.
it looks like to me it's repeating itself again because
What
I'm
do you mean?
seeing the same. I'm seeing the same. Well, maybe I'm just need to scroll some. I don't know. Where's the chat bar in this new screen? Or is there?
You
No,
know,
There isn't one.
there's a private chat on the bottom, but
I see that.
Brad is the only one that can chat like in the comments, I believe.
yeah, that's a difference.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for that.
Icy Mountain. Thank you very, very much.
Sandy.
It was very, very nice of you to test that out and make sure it still worked.
But yeah, it's a little bit different. Well, the main thing is I like the chat box on the screen because it's bigger and I don't have to search so hard with my bad eyes. But that's mainly for people watching on YouTube, right? We still have the chat box on the side, and if it says paired, it's coming from like my channel, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot to look at here. Right, so that super chat says paired, so that went to your channel.
And then it said someone scanned the QR code across the top. Did you miss that?
I missed that.
It popped up right in the center of the screen. It said someone scanned the QR code.
Oh, okay.
I saw it.
So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool
Very
little
nice.
features.
So
I'll be
the
curious to see
QR
how many streams change to this now.
the QR, just to warn you, the QR. Oh, look at that! Someone scanned the QR again. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The QR goes to PayPal. It doesn't go through YouTube. Just so you know, it goes to my my PayPal account. If you send it, what they used to call friends and family, there's no fees. They don't call it friends and family. They just kind of ask you what you're doing, and they'll figure it out. So if you just tell them you're sending it cash to a buddy, then that's fine. If you tell them you're buying products, then they'll take part of your money, uh, because they do offer return credits and whatnot for people who buy products.
Yeah, they and there is a huge delay with super chats. So to give you an example, was it 2 months ago? I got a lot of super chats when I was looking for work and was having a hard time, and I just got that today. So it takes a good while to get.
It's really slow.
Oh, it was helpful today.
Yeah, it was helpful today for sure.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to know, well, we got this, this is going to happen eventually. So it's
Sorry, I'm still looking at features. I'm not being a
so
very good
Icy
host.
Mountain said, so which one is the best used to donate? So if you're doing the QR code, that's actually going to Brad. And the super chat you did was for me. And that so that goes through my my YouTube. But
you can super chat to me too, but if you super chat, YouTube loves you to super chat because they
they get a
take
percentage.
a good little percentage of that.
Right.
I don't remember how much it is. Todd's back. Hey, Todd.
Hey, he's home.
He's not homeless.
Where am I?
You're in the
There
bottom.
we are. Yep. I didn't put punching bag Todd either.
$20 USD. Hippo character flips around and does V sign with his hand while the word victory appears in the background. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you very much for the for the $20 super chat.
It was a
That's
super
very much
sticker, so
appreciated.
it's probably done from the phone. Maybe
Oh,
that's
I
an
see.
emoji,
Yeah,
and that was the translation.
Flower Street kicked in there. Oh, thank you so much, Flower Street, Brian. New stream platform donation. More cats, please. Oh, I can't. There's another one here that would love some more cuddles, but I've only got one arm for it.
And there's another one there that doesn't want any cuddles at all.
Yeah. Well, Kitty, she'll come and she'll sit here and want pets, but you can't see her usually. Thanks, everybody. I'm just like a kid with a new toy. I don't know what to do next.
New kid in the
So
candy store.
let's talk bees.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, you were talking about figuring it out, how to beekeeping. You think about it, every year it's different. Your season changes when you get a frost, when you get freezes, when you get rain, too much rain, then you get droughts.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
every year,
This
previous.
one's for you, Bob.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you, buddy. We need to catch up on the phone sometime soon.
Sorry to
And-
interrupt.
Nothing but a big variable.
Well, you know, for a while there, I was trying to do everything what I thought was too early, right? And then I seemed to always be behind the eight ball, you know, always not playing catch up necessarily, because once the time's passed, you can't really regain that, right? But
Right.
it was something that that I was doing, and then I was like, you know what? I'm too late. I'm not actually too early. I was too late. And so I started incorporating things this past year that I was learning from guys in Canada, right? Working backwards and stuff like that from when I need them to be ready, which puts me sometimes in December or January when I need to start putting a pollen patty on or something like that, which I wasn't doing in the past. And,
Right.
you know, things went good. There was some things that I did this year that I maybe shouldn't have done. First of all, I've got all those queens during the middle of honey flow. So I actually took bees from producing colonies to make nukes with queens, and none of those nukes made it. Not one of them. So, you know, when you're talking 25 queens, you take 2 or 3 frames out of each, you're looking 50 to 75 frames of bees. That's 5 colonies, right? That's 5 brood boxes or 5 hives that you just totally basically gambled to see if it's going to go. And so there's definitely things. I mean, I'm taking lumps every year, right? I just am at the point that I cannot afford to continuously put money into new bees every year, right?
Right.
And that's what I've been doing. So, these bees have to make it. I mean, they have to. Because I don't know what, you know, it changes. My financial situation typically changes early in the year because people start buying the swarm lure and stuff like that, which helps me offset some of that stuff. But at some point, you got to say, I don't want to do that anymore, right? I want to graft my own queens and make my own colonies because, in all fairness, the numbers are astronomical to me. In the last 3 years, I've probably spent $15,000 between queens and nukes and, you know, stuff like that. And I don't make that much honey. I make $12,000 in honey, and I'm spending $15,000 on bees. The math doesn't work, right? So, so there's got to be a point to where either you break through the learning curve and can make your more colonies survive every year, or you got to rethink what you're doing, you know, and that's kind of where I'm at. and is just back to square one again, right? Every year.
And I'm almost to the point now that when you buy queens from somewhere else, especially if it's far away, if it's not semi-local, those hives might bring you honey, but they will not make it through the next year. I've kind of kept track of my 24 production hives, and the ones where I bought queens and put them in, I'm usually got to queen them the next year. The ones I graft, I don't have near as much issues with them.
Well, I've noticed, and it doesn't matter. I'm not picking on any specific queen breeder, but it doesn't matter where I get queens from. They don't do well here.
No.
It doesn't matter if they came from California or they came from Ray Oliveira's or where I get them from. Even if I get them from Cutie, and they're right up the road, they just don't seem to do very well.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much done buying queens. I'm just going to graft my own.
The
I've
other
been
problem,
doing that pretty much anyway.
the other problem is getting them at a time of year that is good for my area, right? Because I'm in the
It's
southeast.
impossible.
It's either
Right.
going down to Florida and getting them, or that's it. I can't get them from Ohio. I can't get them from Northern California and get them here before my flow starts.
Right.
So that's been an issue I've been contending with. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe that's my niche in beekeeping, is being the queen guy, right? That I can make queens and perfect that to where I'm the guy that produces the queens here early enough that people here can get them when they need them.
Well, Bob, you got all those 2-3 frame nuke boxes, right?
Yeah, I've got about 25 2-framers out there.
You could graft in your what would be your mid season or late season and just fill those babies up, and see if they push them all together and see if they overwinter, because your winters are pretty darn mild.
Yeah, they're pretty mild. We get about a month of where it's kind of cold all the time, but
I mean, even if you lose 25% of them, you still got 17 queens and stuff like that you could put back into your honey queens if they lost them, or you can sell them.
right. So
But then you got to learn how to graft to make your own queens.
So, Bob, a question. I think you were saying that your bees in your outyard are doing a little better.
Yeah, I put 12 out there, and a couple of those were suspect when I put them out there. So I knew they probably wouldn't make it to begin with. And I've got 10 of those. The majority of the hives that I had here, I've got like 12 left.
Okay, so, and it's a little ways away, isn't it? There's not a lot of overlap.
6 miles, 6.5 miles.
So there wouldn't be a lot of overlap between the 2 yards foraging area. I wonder if there's just something in your area that's causing problems with your bees. Gas station garbage can, for example.
Right. Could be.
You know
High
what I
school
mean?
trash cans.
Yeah. So, maybe it's not so much to do with your management, etc. You could just watch that outyard and see how it performs. Maybe
I
that's
might
the
have to
key.
be one of those guys that only has outyards.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Do you
I
have
just know that it doesn't matter if I have 100 hives outside. I'll have 17 to 22 in the spring every year.
Don't you have that toxic plant over there? I can't remember what you called it.
Jasmine?
Oh, yeah, we've got Carolina jasmine that comes in the springs.
There's 2 things that I just thought of that I didn't think about before. Right now, why don't you just start grub-Xing the crap all over the place around your hives? And
I've also noticed hive locations. Like, I can see over several years that hives located in certain spots on my hive stands die every year. It doesn't matter if it's brand new or if it's an established hive, if it's in the specific location, dead in the spring. By the end of the year, it just doesn't make it. So that's
It's got to be something. You know, a combination of those two might help out a lot, though. You could knock down the exposure to grubs and then that toxic plant.
try to keep the beetles down.
Yeah.
Now, Bob, do you use beetle traps?
I have in the past, and they don't. I mean, they do okay, but I find that the beetles like to hide under them more than they go in them.
Did you see the one Mike Berry just put out a few videos?
That new square one that's got got a Swiffer sheet inside of it.
No, he puts was it Demetrius earth in them?
It's like a beetle blaster, isn't that?
Oh yeah, I've got some of those.
It was someone made.
Yeah,
they were 3D printed.
looks like a nice little unit.
And he was doing well with them. But if you want some beetle traps, I'll send you some.
I've got a bunch of beetle traps, and typically we get so many beetles that it just fills up, and then they start walking on it or on top of the. I've seen them crawl back out of the beetle trap, and Swiffer sheets have worked the best as far as actually just trapping the beetles. But like the colonies, and I was late getting to them with the job and everything, but I went out there last week and put Swiffer sheets in the boxes. This week I came back and there was beetles on the Swiffer sheet where it caught a bunch, but there was beetles just walking in the colony and no bees. There were still beetles in there. So it was every year it's like something different. So it's
Hey, Bob Beanie just had a video up 2 or 3 weeks ago where he was moving 15 or 20 hives out of a location, and he said the reason why it just doesn't produce. And he goes, I look at the area and it should produce, but it doesn't produce. So he actually has bad yards himself, and he moves them to different spots.
When I made the post last year, or this year, sorry, I had probably 35 people that said they would let me put bees out on their place. So I'll have to.
You may find that your yard would be good for a nuke yard where you can maintain it easily, build them up, and then get a few more out yards.
That's probably what I'm going to do is keep the smaller colonies here and move the
where
larger ones out.
You can take a few minutes after work or before work, or I know your schedule is late. After work, probably. You can check them out and see if they need anything. The bigger colonies, once they get going, not much you can do.
Well, there's Ian. Hey, Ian. Someone said something about dead comb, or I don't know where I would send that to.
What?
The comb to get tested.
Hey,
it'll come on when you get an idea.
Talk about comb, man. That stuff that I'm trying out, it's really doing a job. Now these frames of comb and pollen are out. They're on the side of the house, wide open, and my control box looks like. How do you describe it? Looks like it has like smoke, but it's actually webbing. And then the treated box is clean. And I have 3 stacks of each. I have 24 frames of each. So far, so good. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's good.
It sure would be a nice change from putting on mothball crystals every month.
People are saying one chat is on top of the other, and I'm looking at it on YouTube, and I don't have that problem. with the chats being on top of each other.
What if you make your YouTube screen full screen? Does
Then
that
I
do
just
it?
see.
No.
Then you
Then
just
you
see
don't
the
see
chat in the window.
Yeah.
the chat at all. Are you on a mobile? The people who are saying that, are you on mobile? That might be your issue. Because I think it does put the YouTube chat on top of the screen.
My wife just brought me some white macadamia nut or macadamia and white cookies,
Oh.
fresh out of the oven.
Man.
Oh.
You know what? My computer's going to go off again.
You've
I don't know
been
what-
just
I'll be right back.
jumping in and out, Todd.
Technically, hey, I'm the first guy who's got bumped out of your show twice.
Yeah.
At least that
You're
part
right
of it
again.
works, right?
Everybody's leaving. Bob's leaving. Mike's leaving. Goodness.
That part of it's working.
So what's new, Charlie?
Nothing really much. Just bees are kind of put away for the winter. They're fed. I haven't really looked at them for the last couple of weeks,
Yeah.
except for driving by in the tractor to see if these. We've had the last 2 days. It's been 80 degrees during the day, and they've been some flying. Some of them are not. Some are out at the 4-inch entrance that I put the reducers in. Some of them have a lot of bees there. Some of them are not really flying that much. And then I kind of wonder, well, are there bees in there? But I'm sure there are. I guess the next thing I've been contemplating on is going out and spending some money and buying, let's say, 1.5-inch styrofoam insulation and putting a piece of that on top of every hive, for winter. I've never really done that. I know a lot of people do. They say it, holds the heat in and gives it that heat dome and all that stuff. What do you about Big Mike? You're up north there. Do you put insulation on top of your hives?
Yeah, I make a winter cover with 2
Is it
inches
over top of an inner cover, or do you don't? Or don't
No,
you
it's almost like a medium, but it's got the inner cover bottom with a hole drilled through it, then 2 inches of foam, and I put a wrapped round full of sugar on them, just as a backup. But I don't even put the sugar in till usually January or so. So the moisture goes up and makes the sugar into a hard candy. Uh, you know, but it's got 2 inches of foam over them.
Yeah, Norman. I don't know how much 1.5 inch is. 4 by 8 sheet. I don't know what it's $30 or $40. I don't know. That's what I was thinking about doing. Over the last 15 years, I've been just, I'll say, ventilating the hive out the top a little bit by just sticking them little blocks up, But everybody's gone to, condensing the hive where you insulate the top, and that in turn keeps a heat dome up in the top of it where the bees supposedly survive better and everything. So that's the only thing I'm going to be doing, maybe. So, and I'll be vaporizing there probably next month for sure. As soon as the temperatures are supposed to drop a little bit this weekend. I mean, but nothing drastic. Maybe in the 60s. And all that. But as far as feeding, I'm done. They got enough on there to get through the winter. So that's about it. And Brad, you were talking about how much you feed. I think I did 25. Let's see. Yeah, 25 50-pound bags. So 1,250 pounds. I bought. That's what I do in the fall.
For how many?
It was like 24 hives this year. I feed them till they stop. And all.
Joe, you might want to check them. I fed mine till they stopped a few weeks ago, and now they're empty. With this warm weather, they've eaten all the stores up. I'm refeeding everything.
Well, I mean, I only started about mid-September, and I just stopped here 2 weeks ago. I guess it was.
Yeah, that's when I pulled mine because it looked like it was going to get cold. And I'm finding my hives that were heavy aren't heavy anymore. They're half as heavy. So it's just an FYI. This warm weather is really screwing things up.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never had warm weather in my life down here.
Yeah, you don't have that issue.
Hot
Bob.
either.
Yeah.
Our average is 54 degrees, and our lows tonight's 57.
We're 65
Yeah.
right now.
I see Norman's comment there about he likes my wintering. On wintering, so do you still ventilate, Norman? All right, now we're losing stuff here.
Norman's a pre-beekeeper.
He's a what?
He's a pre-beekeeper. He doesn't have bees, not yet.
Oh,
He just enjoys our company and learning about the bees.
Learning.
So he doesn't have a method that he uses.
He's like me.
I
He's
got
got a
one-
place to vent his sarcasm.
I got one hive I'm venting, and that's my acclimate bay hive because that's how it's designed. So I'm not changing it. See how it does.
You know who is a beekeeper? I found out Timothy Hutton, the actor. He keeps a few hives.
Okay.
I can't place who that even is.
I don't either. I don't follow anybody in Hollywood though. Watch movies too much.
He was one of the Brat Pack guys.
He was in Ordinary People too.
Ordinary people.
I don't know. It's like that. What was it? Some guy in Brazil or someplace had fell off a side of a third story or whatever. I was like, who's that guy? I don't have no idea.
Oh, you're talking about the guy from One Direction. My daughter knew who he was for sure. She was probably more upset about him than me hurting my toe.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was at all.
We're
all still learning beekeeping. So Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah, he played in Shawshank Redemption as well.
What was that? Andy Dufresne?
No, Tim Hutton.
You know, what did he play in there?
He was
Andy Dufresne.
Oh wait, maybe that was. Let me see.
I could tell Shawshank went no place for his skin.
Excuse me.
Hey, Jeff.
Boy, this is, you know what? There's no comment bar on here, and then I have to find the right channel whoever's placing a comment for me.
Yeah, sorry, Todd.
No worries, but
well, you could also verbalize your response. That's why it's a live chat. You could actually
answer. Hear you.
So let me do this. I think it was Melissa, but it might have been Tom. Just email me your info, and I'll send you one. They want some orange honey.
You should know this guy. He's in 84 movies.
Yeah, he's a big guy. You know,
Yeah, but your labs bite; they don't sting.
Yeah.
What kind of labs?
Yeah, Norm's been on a lot of these chats, so he's half nuts then.
Maybe he needs to
I
hire
know
me.
Norman, and that's a fairly decent approximation. Yeah, he's a good guy, though.
Brad, how much does your cat weigh?
This guy, not
Yeah,
much.
you,
He's a big kitty, but he's
He's a
extremely
furball.
skinny.
oh,
It's
is
like
he?
it's like petting a skeleton, really.
What about in his heyday?
Oh, he never was real heavy. He was only ever about 11 or 12 pounds.
Just
Uh,
full of fur?
yeah, he's big, but he's just skinny. Um, we got another one that's a good solid 20 pounds here, though. He's a little football.
You know, not. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll interrupt in a minute.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, I'm looking. I finally saw that there's times in these comments, and the latest one for me in my technical issue is 5:40, which was 26 minutes ago.
What are you talking about?
The comments on the side of the. Oh, you know what? Never mind.
You're watching a
I'm on the wrong one.
delayed version of the stream, probably.
Are you on live? Do you have
Oh.
the live button?
I don't know. The one on the right hand side keeps repeating itself, and the one in
Yeah.
next to our photographs is more current.
So that's why I was talking about talking to Melissa and Tom, and I remembered I was driving by the orange groves, and I said, "Oh, there's probably 200 acres of orange," and then they said something about, "Oh, send us some orange blossom honey," and that was about the time when I was passing by. So I don't know. I don't know
It's
if
right
it's
when you disconnected and drove home.
Maybe I should have just kept driving, right? I don't know. Chipotle is down the street. I'd be doing that instead of cooking. Anybody else having that problem?
No.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm
It's
not
got
sure.
to be
Just
the computer.
Why are you reading both chats, Charlie?
You're probably
They're
watching
the same chat.
the stream in the past. Like you're not caught up to the current time in the stream.
Well,
That's
I've
what.
noticed the chats in the stream
How do
are
you?
about 5 or 6 behind the YouTube chats.
How in the
There's
world?
always a delay.
Oh
Hey,
my
boss.
gosh, we'll let anybody in this new software.
Oh man,
Boy, I had trouble getting into this thing.
Hey, isn't it fun?
Here I am. Hey guys.
So, Brad, to answer your question, I can't get to your QR code because it says live. So I'm live, I guess. I don't know. This is strange. Yeah.
Sorry, Todd.
No. That's not your fault.
Kick in the extra $30 a month. I'll go back to StreamYard.
No, I don't want that. It's just strange.
So what's going on, Ian?
I just got in from the field. Yeah, getting work done there. We have all the strips pulled in the beehives now. Carrie, actually, I went to help her, and I put one of my kids on the tractor yesterday, so I went out to help Carrie, and I got to the yard, and she was on her last 5 colonies, so I helped her in the last colony.
Good for
She's like,
you.
"Oh, geez, thanks for showing up, boss."
yeah, perfect timing.
You just tell her take the rest of the day off?
Yeah.
I'll finish up here.
I don't know if you see the humor in that or not.
You're awesome.
Yeah, so all the strips are out, so that is good. And I'm just waiting on the refrigeration guy to get the cooler put into the hot room, so I can start moving bees in. It's going to be about a week.
That's exciting.
Yeah, if I had the cooler in there now, I think I'd be moving in. Like
Sure.
right, I would have been moving in today, but I just got to wait for
Absolutely.
these guys.
Yeah, that's really exciting. You know, I'd move in a lot earlier if I had a refrigeration, get the building cooled down. It's just a little dicey when it still gets warm in the daytime.
Yeah, and they're threatening snow at the end of the month, so I'm not sure if we're going to see the snow or if it's just going to pass by. But the long range is still, nothing to get worried about. So I think even if I don't get in right away, I, you know,
Yeah.
well, you know how it is with weather. You never know. I've been digging colonies out before. I just don't want to do that again.
And it can change in 24 hours too. Big time.
Yeah. When are you going to start wrapping?
I don't know. I'm getting done my work in the honey house. I've just taken all my pails off and washed them up today, and I got to get in my wood shop and make a few things for wintering outdoors. So I'm not in a huge hurry because the bees that are going inside aren't wrapped either. So I don't know. I don't know if I need to get in too much of a panic. I'll get them wrapped by the end of the month.
Well, you'll
Yeah.
know next spring.
Yeah,
You needed to panic.
I will. Oh, oopsie daisy,
A little bit late on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to Brad 2.0 next year.
No, we don't want to do over next year.
Yeah, some guys are trying to wrap up around here, but there's still feed pails on some colonies. So I think they're just trying to get the last little bit of feed in.
I kind of felt bad. Most of my sixes still had feed on them, and quite a few of them were right on the pail when I pulled it
Oh.
away from them. So, I just had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just
Carrie, when
time.
she was pulling into some of the nukes, she was seeing some brood, which I didn't really want to see because I want them. They're prone to starve because they don't have as much feed in their great big clusters. So it makes me a little nervous. Yeah.
Alex is asking, what kind of wrapping do I use? Well, I can't tell you what I use because I've never done it really in the last 9 years. I've got a whack of polystyrene sitting around here, so I'll probably use that. Just make some polystyrene. I don't know what you call them, but just surround the hives with polystyrene. I want to build quilt boxes for them. I had, well, the only one winter that I did winter outdoors, I didn't lose any bees. So whatever I did that winter, I know that'll work, right? So the quilt box I just make, and it's got wood chips in it and side ventilation, so it can have a little bit of air percolate up through the wood chips, grab the moisture, and ventilate to the outside. And then it's got polystyrene on top of that for a nice insulating layer, and that worked really well.
Yeah,
Todd's
Brad,
mad.
I don't think cold really kills bees that much.
No,
I mean, I had those 3 hives last winter that fell over, and for 6 days it was -10, -15 C, totally exposed, and all 3 of those hives survived, and they actually were 3 of my best hives. They
Tom,
just took they
you're
just took
right.
off.
I've seen it happen here. Uh, in the cold weather, a healthy colony at least, a small, sickly, struggling colony, that's different. But a healthy colony,
Yeah,
All
really,
my colonies the
when
same.
it gets so cold, they'll starve before they'll freeze to death, right?
right.
If they have proper ventilation. Ventilation is a little bit of another issue to deal with. They can ice up under certain conditions, but yeah, they'll just run out of food. That's insulating them is not keeping them alive. Insulating them is keeping them from eating too much.
Right. Slows down the metabolism.
Right. It allows them to not have to work so hard to stay warm
Right.
because they will
Well,
stay warm.
I mean, it's like we just had what's his name, Bill Hirschbeck, where he talks about the condensing hive insulating, like you were talking about the outer walls, but also insulating the roof without letting it's like the insulated hives you buy, where there is no top ventilation, and they create a heat dome up there where then the moisture the heat goes down the sidewalls, and of course the sidewalls are not as insulated, and it condenses the moisture on the inside of the box so they have something to drink. That's part of up there in the Yukon has done that kind of stuff, and I mean his weather is kind of like your weather up there, and all that.
Etienne's weather is quite a bit worse than us. He's got snow already. I don't know why anybody would keep bees there. His season is about 2 months long.
In the Yukon.
Yeah, he's in Yukon.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's always, um, doing a lot of experiments and stuff.
Yeah,
there.
he's very technical with his beekeeping, and particularly wintering. He's very technical and has just reams of data on what the clusters are doing in the winter.
Yeah,
he
'cause
said
I mean,
quite a bit of good luck too.
He runs screen bottom boards too.
yeah, but now you got to remember the details of that screen bottom board,
Yes, but he seals off the bottom of the hive stand.
right? Because there's no draft.
But
Yeah.
because he was having problems with the condensation plugging the entrances up because it was freezing like a frozen river.
Right. But
So he
what
went
most
to the,
people overlook is the fact that it's more of he creates sort of like a dead air space underneath the screen bottom boards, so no wind can blow up into the hives and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's what I'm debating on here. We're putting up insulation over top of the hives, or just continue on what I've been doing for the last 15, 16 years. Just small little block to jack up that lid just a little bit to let the heat out and the condensation.
Brad, we have a couple guys down here that when they winter out, they like the poly you use to wrap your stuff when you're sending it off to the dipper, the stretchy plastic.
Oh yeah,
They buy it in a black, and they
yeah,
wrap their hives with that to keep the wind off them,
yeah.
and it gives them a little bit of a heat sink in the winter. And they put the poly on the roof.
See that I'm not going to argue that, but that goes against what I believe, and that's that black is bad. Solar gain is bad, because again they don't freeze to death. They can stay warm. You just need to make sure you have enough feed, and insulation is there to reduce feed consumption, not to keep the bees warm. Specifically, and solar gain of any kind. That's why the bees here, when they get buried in the snow, you probably have that much snow, Mike, don't you? That they can get buried in the snow pretty easily.
We used to. We're on one of those downward.
Yeah,
6 years
but
ago we had 10
typically,
feet.
and when they do get buried in the snow, the bees survive very, very well. And I think that's one of the things is they have no solar gain and they have no wind chill when they're buried in the snow. So I don't. And that's just my belief. I don't think a black wrap really is helpful because it instigates a day-night cycle, and that could cross that clustering threshold. You don't want to take that cluster and then warm it up and then have a break cluster.
You can clear also, but it keeps the wind from being able to get into any
Yeah,
cracks or anything.
that's the benefit.
So even you were talking about putting your polystyrene on, you just put a little tack to hold it. You could wrap it right on. Then in the spring, just cut that plastic and pull it off.
Mike, I never thought of that. I was wondering how I was going to attach that, and that's brilliant. I think I might do that.
I mean,
Just
if
wrap
you
it.
get a roll of the stuff you like wrap the ends of boards with, just to hold it, and then you could take the big poly, go
Yeah.
right around it.
Yeah, I have both.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Like I have a top I make and I put it on later. It's my winter top, and by then the propolis is not. And I take the banding wrap and wrap the top of the hive to that. I don't put anything on my hives other than that.
yeah.
I live in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
I have
like-
one of the
I
I
have a
like
place
the option
in
with the
Vermont.
comments on the side.
What'd you
What's
say,
that,
Ian?
Ian?
I like the comments on the side of the display here. I can see all the comments.
The benefit is that because we're streaming to both my channel and Bob's, you can see all of the comments from both
Yeah.
channels on
Yeah.
that. And then after the fact, when you watch the stream as a replay, you can see the comments right on the screen.
That's a good idea.
Hey, Brad, where
Ian's
I live,
subscribing right now to Restream.
in the morning, in the nighttime, they cluster together. In the daytime, they're up throughout the hive
Yeah.
all through winter. And
Yeah.
then some days they're flying.
Hey, Bracken.
Last year, the bees flew so much that my winter bees were just worker bees
Yeah.
because they wore out their wings before it got warm. So
You guys
whole
are feeling my
different
pain right
issue.
now. With the bees still flying when they're normally not. And then they're brooding.
Yeah. And this
So-
winter, they're saying it's going to be at least the first half of the winter is supposed to be warm. So I might be feeding until January.
Then you'll have a
This weather
June.
keeps
Then
up.
you have a June snow.
Then we'll get March will be sub-freezing like this year was.
We never get snow here. I mean, if we get snow, it's like once a decade. And last year we got it on a Saturday. Then it was 75 on Wednesday. I'm like, okay, I can do my splits now. And then it snowed again this following Saturday. So it just wiped out like 30% of the colonies I had because I made splits out of them. Was not
Ian,
good.
when does your deer season start?
Me?
No, Ian.
Oh, Ian.
Oh, for me. Oh boy, good question. It'll be around Remembrance Day, I do believe. On to the second week of November. I think I should check. Yeah. I've been scouting out the fields. There's some little bucks, not anything too exciting, but some pretty proud little bucks on the edge of the field. And I said, okay, there
Right
we
when
go.
you accidentally spilled some corn off the truck.
Well, it's one of their fields where we grew corn, so the grain cart accidentally spilt over. Damn, my brothers, they're making a
I
mess.
think
The corn's worth
there's
money.
a chuck in the field there, isn't there? Because that happens a lot.
Gonna move the hunting shack.
Just tell them that was
so I got
when the wildlife people come. Just tell them that was for the squirrels. I had to shoot the deer to keep them away from it.
Yeah, the kids are getting pretty excited. They're my girls have bought their tags already, and Charlie, he's procrastinating. I'm not gonna buy a tag myself. That's way too many deer. I'm gonna be dressing them all. So if they get their way, we'll have 3 deer hanging. It's better cool down though.
Why
This
you
isn't
got
very good weather for hanging deer.
Just put them in the bee barn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put a
nice and
couple
clean in
grappling
there.
hooks up
Once I get the
there.
cooler in there.
Be able to let them hang a couple weeks.
Yeah, keep my bees out in the field. My brothers be asking, why aren't you moving them in yet? You got that cooler. To hang the deer, of course.
That's a good reason.
Well, pretty expensive cooler for a few deer.
That's for sure.
The bees are the excuse. The deer is the real reason.
Yeah. We usually don't let them hang very long anyway, so you can grind it up into sausage.
Nice.
Yeah, perfect.
Very nice.
Well, I was out there today, and there's a mother coyote, size of my dog, healthy looking thing, and she could give a damn I was there in the tractor, just out, poking around, catching mice, I guess. Walk right up. I could have shot that thing.
That's
Pretty bold.
Funny you mention that, Ian. I caught a raccoon in my cage today, and I go up to it, and it acted like it was a pet. It never hissed at me or nothing. It just looked at me. It's like, whoa, they're usually mean as can be. I might have caught somebody's pet
So
raccoon.
you shot it.
You shot it.
Ian, your dogs are like they're real dogs. I mean, it was cold when I was there, and they were just out running through the fields, didn't care, just
Yeah.
on the move.
They're outdoor dogs, that's for sure. We let the old dog in the house, actually, pretty much all the winter now, just through the night. She sleeps by the fireplace, but the other ones, they
And
stay
again, your
inside.
cows were running through the fields too. They were not in bed. They got out that day.
Those damn coyotes, if the dogs are inside, the coyotes will come right up to the house.
They'll come. Well, they'll do that here too. I've had a game cam in my driveway, and like 10 feet outside the back door, just standing in the driveway. 2 or 3 coyotes.
Pretty bold.
So, of course, we're too close to other houses to actually shoot them here. So
We used to have a lot of coyotes, but the bobcats have moved in, and there's not near as many coyotes.
So will a bobcat attack you?
No, they run. I mean, I see them for a split second, and boom, they're gone. Yeah,
They're
they're
pretty
really
shy.
shy.
And a full-grown bobcat, how big is that? Is that like as big as a regular house cat or bigger?
Oh, bigger.
Like
Twice as
10
big.
times as big as a house cat.
And
They're
really
big.
husky.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll take down a full-grown, healthy deer.
Really? I mean, like coyotes. I mean, around here, that's something new. I'll say a new to us. You know, where they've started to invade.
Well, bobcat can be big as a coyote.
Well, that sounds
Yeah.
like more like a lion, a
Well,
mountain lion.
not quite that big, but I don't know about your coyotes, but they're around here. They're not that big. They're
that's
kind
a
of
good idea.
scrawny.
Get a bow.
So, Bob, last time you were talking about your bees not doing so well. What's
Beetles.
the dealio?
Best I can tell is beetles.
Oh,
Because last week I went out and I put Swiffer sheets on them because some of them had some pretty bad beetle issues. And went out today because I was going to put feed on them. Popped the top. No bees, but there were still beetles. Even there were some caught on the Swiffer sheet. Some of them were just walking on the Swiffer sheet like they didn't care. So I just
What
popped
happened to
top
the
of them.
what happened to the old trays,
They're
bottom board old trays?
well, only some of my colonies had those to begin with, and then and I was slack. I didn't put re-up the oil in them, so they were not beekeeper error for that. So it's but you know, I got
how's the mic counts?
I haven't shaken them recently, but there was. I mean, it wasn't like there was dead bees in the bottom. There was no bees at all. They were just gone. And that's been a reoccurring theme since I've been beekeeping out here. It doesn't matter. I could have 100 colonies in my yard, and in spring I'll have 17 to 22. It's kind of the sweet spot. So we're talking about that, you know, what I should do. Brad told me giving up was not an option, so I guess I got to keep rolling with it. I'm just to the point to where I cannot financially continue to buy bees every year because I don't make enough honey to recoup the costs. So every time I buy bees, it's coming out of my salary, which is not a huge salary, but you know, so at some point the numbers have to work, and to this point they haven't. So I'm just, you know, have to do with what I got, you know, and hopefully the out yard's doing good, much better than my home yard. I put 12 colonies over there. 2 of them I knew were iffy at best when I put them out there, and they died. The other 10 are great. Here, I could have 40 colonies, and they just fall
Maybe
off.
your yard's one that should only have 10.
Yeah, that's
You
what
know,
I'm.
when I started an out yard, and you know, we don't have anywhere near what you guys have up in Canada. I'm in residential areas. I start with 6 hives. They do good. I put 10, and I max out at 12, and I go to another yard. But it's the only way I can do it around here.
But the colonies that I have here that are, oddly enough, I've got some mean bastard hives that I don't like to get into. Matter of fact, those are the ones I was kind of hoping, well, maybe they won't make it. I haven't treated them. I haven't done anything to them. Doing fine. The ones that I work with and baby
Enjoy.
along and help and treat and do everything like I'm supposed to, struggle. The ones that I just let go, I don't know if it's because they're just pissy bees or what, but I mean, I haven't even broken the boxes apart in probably 2 months.
Maybe they're gentle because they're sick.
Don't know.
Just a thought.
I mean, I put like I said, I put 2 gallons of heavy syrup on all of them today. So
That's why working nukes is really nice, because they're weak, right? They're not mature. They don't have the power and the attitude. So I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
well, then you get the flip side of that. People are, I wouldn't have any mean bees in my yard. I'll just get rid of them, right? I'll dump a bucket of soap in them, right, Charlie? I mean, it's like, so I don't care about the mean bees that much. That doesn't bother me. I think it's kind of like anything. They're going to have their own personalities, everyone you go to, right? Some of them, and I just have a couple that are hot. They're doing good, but the other one's struggling. And it's funny, we were talking about it because I've bought bees every year. I bought queens every year from different people, and none of the queens I buy and do well here. Any of them that I've been able to tell where they just, you add them to the colony, they accept it, and just takes off. That doesn't happen. It's just a constant struggle to get them to build up. And I use you as a reference. I mean, in the spring, you open up your box and the thing's slam full. And I'm like, these bees have been in a building for 6 months, getting smaller and smaller, and they're full. And here, all year long, I'm opening them like, geez, it doesn't look like there's many bees in there. And I don't know how to get it to that point to where they start to really, grow. I'll get a couple hives that usually my Italians will just, boom, 2 boxes right away in the spring, and then I have to split them. But for the most part, it's been a chore every year to try to get it to that point. And I mean, all of my queens were less than 2 years old. They either got replaced last year. I replaced all of them last year, and then I replaced some of them this year. And same thing. So I'm just trying to systematically, it could still be a queen, but try to take the age out of the queen, right? And have a fresh queen where hopefully she'll just go to town, but it hasn't been the case. So, and I might just be in that spot that I live kind of in a residential area, but I'm still out in the woods a little bit, and
Where's your
6.5 miles away from me, further out there's fields out there, right? There's cotton and soybean and all kinds of stuff out there, and they're doing good. Last time I was out there.
Could they take more colonies out there? Do you think there's enough for them out there?
Yeah, probably. They matter of fact, when I set up the arrangement with them, I told them I was going to put 20 out there, and I only put half of what I said I was going to put out there, because the idea last month, before all this development happened, was I was going to split my colonies here and make nukes and carry them out there, and then split those and make nukes and bring them back here, right? So
That's
just kind of swap them back and forth like that. And I can still do that, but again, it's one of those things that it's hard for me to get colonies from one year to the next. And pretty much the way it's been going is the colonies that I have now, I can almost tell you right now that they'll be dead next year. Those will be my dead colonies next year. It's like I'm only getting 1 year out of a colony at best. And I go down to Sam down there that runs all nukes, and he's like, "Oh, this is a 4-year-old queen." And I'm like, I can't get a 2-year-old queen without everything just going to crap right away, And it's not, a lot of it's me, right? I'm not blaming the bees or anything like that. It's errors that I've made, or maybe I'm late getting something done, or maybe too early, right? Doing something. So just trying to get the timing on all that stuff right.
Hey Bob, that where you live there, that road's a pretty busy road, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the one that runs right in front of the house is between a couple major roads, so a lot of people do cross back and forth on it. But it's
You
not.
think they're getting too much CO2 from all the exhaust?
No, I think what they're getting here is too much shade. So when the sun rises on that side of the house, part of my colonies are staying in the shade, and then it hits the trees, right? So it's like a little bit later in the day. They're not getting the flight time, I don't think, that they would normally get if they were in the middle of a field, right? Where there's just open skies all around them, which they do have at the outyard. They have it's just a field.
Especially in the spring and fall then. That's going to be even worse.
Yeah, so I lose most of my bees. If I lose them, I'll lose them this time of year. I don't usually lose them over the winter too much. It's usually this time of year that I lose them. So I guess I saved, if you want to look at the half full, I guess I saved a little bit of money on sugar, not having to do that.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I bang on that varroa mite drum all the time. It's our curse, that varroa mite. Are you sure it's not varroa mite that's taking things down?
I'm not positive. I couldn't tell you definitively. But I would think that if it was disease or mite, that they would be dead in the colony, wouldn't they be? At the bottom?
No. No, they get bad enough, they just leave.
Yeah, mite bomb, when I find mite bombs this time of year, it's usually hardly any bees in there and frames of brood. Not good looking brood, but just looks like there was active development and they're just gone. That's what I look as being like a mite bomb that's disappeared.
Then you can look at the comb too, and there's some frass in there.
Yeah,
it's like a little white poop.
Yeah.
All right.
It sometimes looks like a little bit of granulated honey, but if you look at the two, you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Not saying that it is mites, because it seems like everybody I'm talking to, whether it's all across Canada or beekeepers down in the States, guys are having trouble with mites this year. I was talking to a big commercial beekeeper who keeps tabs of beekeepers right across the United States, and he said there's guys that have been hammering their mites and they just can't get them down. And he's like, they're going to run into trouble. This winter is coming pretty quick. They're not going to get things ready, and there's going to be a lot of losses. And I'm hearing this from beekeepers across Canada. So what I'd have to say is, if you don't know your mite counts, Bob, that'd be suspect for me. More than one type of treatment, maybe.
Yeah, I know you've hit it with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
What else can we do, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised they can't figure out that situation.
But that's the number one, in Bob's case, I think is the number one is to satisfy yourself with some real data that mites is not your problem, because it's 10 times more likely to be the problem than anything else, really. So, because we all deal with it, like we're all just hammered by those mites all the time. So,
you know what, Brad? You made a comment last time I was on a live here with you. You made a comment about sticky boards underneath, and I didn't catch what you actually meant there until I got off, and I was like, oh, that's what he meant. Like putting a sticky board, like instead of doing these damn shakes all the time, put a sticky board underneath and throw a piece of like a cloth of formic on top.
It was my idea. Somebody suggested it to me, actually. 2 people in very short order suggested it, and they said, just use your vaporizer, put a sticky board in, blast them with some oxalic acid vapor, and watch the drop, and you can use that as your benchmark as to what's going on.
That's what I do. When I vaporize, I pull my sticky board out, which is not sticky, but it's white board. I clean it off clean, put that in, hit them with vapor, come back in about 2 to 3 days, and then pull it back out and take a look at it to kind of give you an idea. And I don't sit there and count them, but it gives you an idea of how much if you have a small amount of drop, 20 mites, let's say you see on the board, or like one year I had it a couple years ago, I had one nuke. It looked like I took a pepper box and just poured mites on that board. And it took me like 3 treatments to finally get that cleaned up on that one hive. And then there are other hives next door to it were fine. They had, maybe 20 mites dropping out of there. So it's a good indicator. It's not like a wash, but I don't open my hives up in the wintertime. So that's what I do.
Sorry, reading the comments again.
Yeah, me too.
Really good conversation going on in there. I want to thank Melanie. She used the QR code and sent something along to me, which I really truly appreciate.
Now Bracken, which was Baker's Hives or out in Utah, asked whether or not mites will get resistance to OAV, and I don't believe so.
Technically they could, but somebody once told me they said it's kind of like you becoming resistant to a house fire. It's probably not going to happen. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to head off, guys. My battery is at 1%. So
You'll be forced
I'm probably
to.
going to drop off.
Thanks for
anyways.
dropping in.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Steve.
There he goes.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
See
So,
ya, yeah.
all right. See you guys.
See ya.
Good night. Yeah, I was going to jump off pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to soon too. Well, we only got like 20 minutes left. Anyway, anywho,
I want to ice. Yeah, in fact, I want to ice my knee, so I'm going to jump off now.
all right.
Okay, Tom. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks for
that.
the new rest stream. I guess you call it
Restream, I think.
restream.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Restream. All right.
So,
Bye.
Brad, have you
Night,
ever
everybody.
heard of? I think it's pseudo scorpions. They're
Yes.
really small.
Yes.
I saw a video with them the other day,
Yeah.
and I like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then yesterday I was going through a hive, and I'm thinking, are those ticks walking? They're small, and I'm like, but I see the 2 big arms sticking out,
Oh, I
and
see.
I had them in my own hives.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kill mites.
Yeah, they do. What I've read is that they do, and they will.
If the bees don't
just
kill
that-
them.
Well, that they don't really hunt them down very well. It is what I read.
They got to be walking by them.
Yeah, they'll eat them, but they don't. They don't hunt them really very well in the hive. But yeah, they can help for sure.
Yeah, they said they can eat like 8 to 10 a day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. But it was, I'd never heard of them, never seen them. Watched the video, I think, the day before. I opened my hive, and I would never even noticed them if I hadn't seen that video. So I'm just running oxalic acid for mite treatments and appy tablets. I sent
sent 2 cases out to Texas.
Bob, I sent Brad a picture. It's got my 2 vaporizers, a case of appy tablets, and my 35-gallon feeder tank. I said the Suburban's ready to do bees. The whole front's full of beware.
That's my thing too. I bought the new truck so I could tote the syrup, and I've used it for syrup I think once, maybe twice since I got it. No, twice, 2 times. And other than that, I probably would have been just as good to just keep my old truck and buy a trailer to pull behind it.
Yeah, because then you could leave it in the trailer. You didn't have to empty it when you got home.
Yep. And slow drain it.
So, Brad, when you're making syrup, do you add hot water?
I don't have enough hot water I can add. I do add as much hot water as I can. It does help in the dissolving the sugar, but I can only add about half of the water I add is hot. So it's not stone cold. I don't
Yeah.
know that you would even call it warm.
But summer temperatures.
Yeah, I can I can tell if it's a cool day, I can feel the tank and I can feel that it's a little bit warmer. I don't sweat it too much. I've been mixing it like that for quite a few years. Not a lot of big problems. My most important thing when I do that, when I mix my sugar syrup, is to not serve it the same day.
Yeah, let it settle overnight.
Yeah, because I'm really running the line between solution and precipitation in that tank, and I'd rather go across that line a little bit because then I know that I've got all of the sugar. I've got that as thick as I can make it, and so then I just let it precipitate a little bit overnight as it will, and then I can serve it the next day, and it's nice and clear. It's not going to precipitate after that. If that precipitates in the pail, like because I'm using inverted pails,
Yeah.
if it precipitates, it just covers the screen and nothing comes out.
Yeah, I imagine it would plug it quickly, wouldn't it?
And then it's a pain. And then you have to clean them.
Yeah.
Take the lid off and stick your fingers down under the lid and scrape the screen off with your fan. You know, now you're sticky right to your elbow. After doing that 100 times.
Better to wait a day.
Yeah. Just wait a day. Life goes so much easier. Yep. So, Bob,
You know,
any big revelations? What's next year look like? Do you think? Anything that you're going to change?
well, see, that's the big thing, right? When you change too much, you don't know what worked and what didn't.
That's right.
But if you don't change enough, then nothing works.
Well, in this business, you only get one chance a year, right?
You have one chance a year, and I
Sounds
think I'm
like
good.
that.
It's like trying to learn how to play a violin, and you only get to pick it up and practice it one day a year.
Yep.
Sounds like your
That's-
hive beetles
that's
raised
what
fully out with you.
Yeah, the Beatles did this year.
Have you ever treated with that Grubex? I see a lot of the southern
Yeah,
boys.
I used some Spectracide stuff on the ground, and it did well. I didn't do it this year though, so because last year I didn't have a bad hive beetle problem. This year I do have a bad hive beetle problem, so it's
Maybe they got used to the smell of the Appy tablets.
well, again we get this dearth, right? And they consume those so fast this time of year that it, especially if it's got a nice population in the colony, that it's not in there long enough, right? So it's weird. I mean, because I can go into one row and there be hardly any, and then you go in the next row and it's just inundated with hive beetles. And you know, usually if there's no bees in there, I don't usually see hive beetles in there. but when you open up a hive and there's no bees, but the beetles are in there, and they're walking on the beetle mechanism. Well, with the Swiffer sheets, if you don't rough them up ahead of time, the bees kind of nap it up as they're trying to get it out, right? They kind of chew at it and fluff it up a little bit, and that usually helps catch them. But evidently between last week and this week, they had enough, so I don't know, but we're going to keep plugging at it. I'll hopefully still split. I mean, I don't really want more than about probably 40 colonies right now anyway. That seems to be where my sweet spot is on being able to work them efficiently and stuff like that. So if what I have now survives through the winter, then I'll do the split on all of them in the spring and swap the yards, right? So that would put me at my 40 where I need to be with a couple extras.
Do you necessarily need to split them? I mean, like mine build up. I don't push them in the spring because I have too many for me to take care of. But when they start to get too big, I just pull a couple frames of cap brood out and put some empty frames in and make my nukes just out of the couple frames I pull.
And then let them just make their own queen?
No, I'll either have a queen for them or queen cell. But no, I leave the hive big as I can. And if I have to keep going and pulling brood out, I'll make more nukes. Or I'll take the nukes that are growing and add another frame to build them up.
Right.
Instead of having 80 hives, you may only end up with 40 or 50, but they're all bigger.
Right.
And stronger. It's just another. I don't do walkaway splits or any of that stuff.
Wow. Look at that.
Take 37.
Yeah, exactly right. Holy cow, what a day. Well, I was talking to my daughter. She had some really good news about school. She got a bunch of grants. So
good.
She's paid for the next 3 semesters. And she's studying neurobiology.
Brain science.
Yep. So she's
saved your pocketbook.
Yeah, basically. Now I wanted to say, well, just don't get married. That'll save me even more money. But
so when she's a world-renowned brain surgeon and you're retired, she can take care of you.
Correct. She could even diagnose me, which probably she's already done. But
that's her master's thesis.
What's
wrong with my father?
It's crazy.
His Lewy bodies are out of control.
Oh man. But anywho, sorry I've been jumping in and out. I am testing the dump out part though. What it looks like on my end. So, it looks the same.
It's just as disappointing.
Yeah. It's just poof, it's gone.
Well, I appreciate everybody hanging in there with the new platform.
I like
just the StreamYard sprung that on me, and for what I do on this platform, it wasn't something that I could really sustain. I don't make that much revenue, and to take that big hit every month really wasn't going to happen. I don't mind kicking in a little bit for a platform like this.
Sure.
It's what is it? I think with my discount it's like $15 US, so I can stomach that. So I appreciate the concessions that we have to make that we can't type in the chat on the screen here. So you just have to talk instead of typing in the chat. I guess that's why we're on the screen, right? So we can talk.
Or you could jump over to YouTube and type it in.
You could go on the YouTube side. And, I think some of the new features or the different features are really nice. I really do like the look and feel of this. And the chat on the screen, when you're doing more than one destination streaming. I really like that because then everybody can see both sides of the chat. I realize that on some platforms, uh, Roy was showing me what he saw, and yeah, it's overlaid because his YouTube screen is full screen, and the YouTube side chat is transparent over top of the screen, and so then it's sitting right over top of the chat that's coming out of the restream side, so it's a little bit muddled in that way. I might
Still
be able
good.
to. I don't know. I thought maybe I could move it, but I don't think I can. Oh well.
Hmm.
Wow. So I kind of killed the conversation.
Oh,
Sorry.
I think I did. I'm sorry.
Well, we finally
Sorry.
got Todd in, and tell us about your day, Todd. Tell us everything that you can
Hmm.
tell us about your beekeeping life these days. I know
Well,
you sent me some news that really wasn't that encouraging.
yeah, correct. So between the bad grafting, well, that's what killed me was, as I told you, just the timing on the weather and the rain and all of that stuff. I could not graft. I I just couldn't. Um, Besides, I have a full time job, so it kind of limits me too. Um, so that's problem number one. It's basically what Charlie ended up seeing is, those queens peter out, and they're all 2 year olds um, right now, and they're petering out. And so at the height of the season, I was at 74, 75, something like that. Right now, I'm down to 32.
Hmm.
Now, not all of it is queen failures. I know there's some in there that there had to be a mite issue here or there. I know I'm not that naive. Um, but the heat this year really didn't help. Even though they say bees could take heat, I think collapsing comb is kind of rough for them to take. Um, and the robbing was really bad this year. Um, so it
Well,
was
you
just
had ants,
Yeah,
that.
how
Well,
many did you stay
swarms.
in?
You had
thank you.
ants. Yeah.
I was trying to think. That by far was the biggest. That by far was it took out like 24. I have it written down somewhere. 24, 25 colonies. I mean, just on their own, healthy, strong colonies. So if you saw that last video I put out, I take the time to take a bee brush and escort them off the pallet. I take great pride in doing that. And then I have to look underneath the pallet to see what ladder they're using to get up onto the pallet. And so that also means I've got to take the time to get a little, it's called a Webster. But I run it underneath the pallet to knock down all the black widow webs so debris can't hang in them and drop down onto the ground to cause a ladder for the ants to come up. So it's just been a big calamity out there. And I'm kind of over with it. And today I was sitting at my desk at work, and we have a security camera screen. So I looked at the security camera screen. I looked at the parking lot. I thought, man, you know what? That'd be awesome if I could put a bunch of hives out there, because that would I could build barriers. It'd be easy for me to build a barrier where ants would not be a problem. Out at the farm, they're coming right out of the ground underneath pallets, right next to pallets. They're traveling from 20 yards away to get to pallets. I mean, there's billions of ants out there. So
I could just pave my whole yard and I wouldn't have hive beetles.
there you go. There you go. There you go.
The larva would just hit the ground and sizzle in the summertime.
Well, I mean, part of my yard sits on blacktop. I don't have, where the
Yeah.
newts are.
It-
It's impervious.
It is really crazy. And I made the joke somewhere that if I stood out there long enough sweeping ants off boxes and pallets, I would have an ant trail over the tops of my boots. They wouldn't go around me. They'd just go over the boots.
I mean, it's crazy. It really is. And I can't do anything about it because the farm manager tells the guys to, if it's bad fruit on the trees, drop it on the ground. Those are like big, gigantic sugar pills. And then that creates more ants, just like, sugar creates more bees, sugar creates more ants. So I don't know.
I get lizards that hang out on the box and wait for free buffet of bees to come out.
Yep, me too. That's another thing. But I know that I don't have a ton of mite issues because when I lift up the lid and there's nothing in the top box and I go down to the bottom box and I take that box off, the pallet floor is clean as a whistle. So nothing had died inside the hive like a disease or something like a foul brood. And 9 times out of 10 this year, the combs have been clean. There's no brood in there. They all hatched out and they all left, or they all died somewhere. But yeah, it's just that's like nightmare thoughts. I'm so sick of them.
I wonder where the saying "clean as a whistle" came from. Because if you think about it, a whistle's probably pretty nasty on the inside. When people blow into it.
I think it refers to more of the sound than the. It's like those old woodsmen that just stick their fingers out. I knew a guy lived across the road. He could do that.
I can do it.
He could shake the frost off the trees on a cold day.
Yeah,
I could do it, but we'd lose every viewer we've got right now.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, Hope. I could find another site, but ground is tough to find around here right now. So I'm in talks with a couple people right now, some other farmers that are in this friend network of the bee manager. So, or I mean, of the farm manager. So I might be able to get something going there. But if they're organic farms, they more than likely have ants as well because they don't spray anything on the ground.
Melanie, what part of Florida are you in? That's
loon call. Yeah, I can do loon call.
a Canada goose call.
A Canada goose. Yeah. Do a sandhill crane call. That would be a little more difficult. You've heard those on my channel from time to time.
Yeah.
They're loud. Well,
So that bear never really did anything to your hives.
no. The perfect bear determined is put a bear trap in the yard.
But he didn't go in it.
Well,
Did
no,
he?
it doesn't matter. As long as it keeps the bear away. Bring the bear trap and the bear doesn't come around. So I guess mission accomplished, right? Everybody's happy, including the bear. I think next year, that's this yard here that I got the picture. It's just picking up the bees this year, and I think next year I'm going to put up a fence over in the side, just so I don't have that worry. I hate every morning waking up, looking at my cameras.
You got the spy cameras too.
Yeah, spy
Yeah.
point cameras.
Yeah, I'm running them on all my apiaries.
Yeah.
I got one downstairs because I was afraid. Left the basement door open that I might have a possum in there. All I seem to have is chipmunk and a mouse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got to bring the bucket buddy down and let them find their new house.
Well, we're just over 2 hours, so I want to thank everybody for coming in, the chat and the live stream. Thank you so much. Thanks for putting up with the new platform. I hope it's going to work going forward. There's a few differences, but I don't think there's any deal killers, to be honest. And that's it for tonight. So what do we got going on later on? We got Charlie on Friday, right, Charlie?
Yep.
What else have we got going on?
Thursday is Ricky Rourke.
Ricky on Thursday.
Yep.
So we will bid you all a good evening. Thank you again for showing up. Thanks again for the lively conversation, both in the stream and the chat. And we'll do this again sometime.
Yep.
Thanks,
Night.
everybody.
Right.
See you later.